Alright, I have been waiting to make this video because a lot of the big free agents, at least that I consider the big free agents, haven't signed yet. We've had a lot of trades, a lot of big signings, don't get me wrong, but we haven't had a lot of Jets news to talk about other than the big Paul Stastny trade and obviously talking about getting Dylan DeMello signed right before free agency started the day after the draft. And I still think the Jets aren't done yet. That being said, they have made a few more moves, and I think it's time to talk about them because I don't know exactly what's next for Winnipeg due to cap. So let's talk about the moves that they have made within the last couple days since free agency has started. Obviously, we know the big acquisition was right at the start of free agency the night before. The Winnipeg Jets traded a fourth and Carl Nellstrom to the Vegas Golden Knights for Paul Stastny. A fantastic trade, which we've already talked about. I'll link that video down right now in the comment section, in the description, I should say, and you guys can go down there and watch my thoughts on that trade as it broke the night before free agency. And now we've had a day into free agency, actually 2 days if you count today and yesterday, and we've had some pretty interesting signings that the Jets have made. Some that I'm pretty happy with, some that I question, and I'm still questioning whether or not we're done yet, and because I personally don't like the moves all that much. The moves that I do like, which I will start talking about, is definitely Mason Appleton being signed to a 2-year contract one-way at an annual value of $900K. That is a fantastic contract for Mason Appleton. Super affordable, especially for the fact that he could probably, if he stays healthy, get 15 goals in the bottom 6. He's a very good goal-scoring winger. He has been that good for the Moose down in the A, and he's shown that promise up with the Jets the last couple seasons. And I think that he can still be a really good player for that bottom 6 and could have potential to even pass Roslovic with his offensive upside. I think Mason Appleton is just a better built player for the NHL than Jack Roslovic is. That's just my opinion. But again, very happy with that signing. I'm a big fan of Mason Appleton, and I'm glad we have him for 2 years at less than $1 million. You can't beat that. I think that that's even a better contract than the Tyler Mott deal that Vancouver gave out to him. So that's a very good contract, and I'm very, very happy with that. The next contract that I'm very happy with is the Jets re-signing and bringing back Nathan Beaulieu for a 2-year contract at $1.25. I think that's a fantastic signing. Having Nathan Beaulieu as one of our, a bigger guy who can play that defensive position for us, who can come in, play anywhere in the lineup, as he's shown since we acquired him from Montreal back in the deadline when we back a few years ago at the deadline, and he's been very, very good for us. And I'm happy we've kept him. He loves the city. He loves great locker room guy. Gets along with tons of players. Not only is that, Nathan Beaulieu was actually the first person to text Cole Perfetti and welcomed him to the team, so he's a very proud Jet, and you can always want a guy like that on your team, and especially a guy at Beaulieu at 1.25. I think it's a great contract, and if we have to trade him because of a cap, whatever, it's a good contract to move. He's a good player, and I think that overall it's a great contract signing. Now, getting into the new contracts that I'm not a big fan of as much is definitely the ones with Luca Sbisa and Nate Thompson. Now, as someone who's lived in Vancouver and has watched the Canucks for his whole life, I am not a fan of Luca Sbisa at a high contract, but Luca Sbisa at 1 year at $800,000 as an extra guy playing maybe in the Moose a little bit. Actually, I don't think he can, but as a press box guy, I can't complain with that. He did play very well for us when he was brought over, when he was bought out from that Islander deal. I can't really complain about it. I'm just happy that it's only 1 year at $800K, that we didn't pay him something like Beaulieu money because I was worried about that. But overall, I think it's a decent signing for a depth guy. He has played well with the system, and overall, you can't really complain about that. Lucas Sbisa can be good in certain settings, but at 1 year at $800K, I'm not a giant fan of it, but just because I don't like Luca Sbisa that much, but I can't complain for a depth signing. The one that questions me and worries me the most is the one that has actually happened today, and it's Nate Thompson at 1 year, $750K. I think that this is a interesting contract because I do like Nate Thompson's game and the elements that he does take faceoffs very well. A good bottom guy, can fight. The Jets don't really have a guy like that anymore. They haven't in a few years, in my opinion, since Chris Thorburns left. We haven't had a guy that can really just fight and be that grit guy for the bottom 6 that can come in and be a plug when you need him to be, depending on the certain matchup. And I do like Nate Thompson at that. I'm just worried that he's going to get more playing time than the young guys. We've had constantly seen this over the past years where Paul Maurice has that one guy in free agency that he wants on his team, and it's usually a really bad older vet, and they actually get a ton of playing time. Example from last season would obviously be Anthony Bitetto. We had much better defensive players. Example, Sami Niku, that should have been playing over him, but unfortunately with the way that Paul Maurice coaches and his style of coaching, he does like to have grit guys and older veterans in his bottom 6 roles, and as I'm not as big of a fan as that. I do like Nate Thompson for certain elements. I just hope that he isn't a constant in the lineup. If he's not a constant in the lineup, I think it's a great signing. If he is, I think it's a terrible signing. All that being said, though, it's going to be a wait and see with Nate Thompson. I just don't want him to play full-time, but if he's not playing full-time, I'm happy to have him on my team as a depth guy to have in the press box for certain games and certain elements of the game that he has and can bring to the ice and bring to a team and to a locker room especially. I think he's a great locker room guy and all that stuff, but again, you don't want to have a guy on your team taking up minutes when he's just a locker room guy and he's a good face-off guy. You just don't want a guy like that, in my opinion, constantly playing. But overall, at 1 year, $750K, I can't really complain with that. Now, where I get into the interesting side of this is that we've made those 4 signings and, of course, the acquisition of Paul Stastny. When you go over to our cap-friendly page and look over at what it's saying now, updated with everything, it gets a little bit interesting. The Winnipeg Jets right now currently only have $1,727,000 in projected cap right now. That is not a lot of money. Jansen Harkins is still an RFA right now, and so is Jack Roslovic. Now, those guys might go to arbitration. I don't know, but we're going to have to wait and see. I really liked Jansen Harkins last season with the time he played, and I would love to see him back on a good contract to have on the team. But all that being said, though, what really gets me worried, in my opinion, is the defensive signings, because I am happy with Nathan Beaulieu coming back for sure. It's one of the guys I wanted to come back, and I am happy, obviously, with the fact that we brought back Dylan DeMello. I think that's a fantastic signing, especially at 4 years, $3 million. You can't beat something like that. In my opinion, we should have given the contract, that type of money, to Sherratt last year, but I like that we kept DeMello at that amount for 4 years, and he wants to be here, so can't complain. But what I get is very, not happy for me, I would say, is the way that the right-handed defense is looking right now. I don't want to see I want to see us upgrade it more. I still think Travis Hamonic is a good option. I still think there are other good right-handed defensemen on the market still, even though it's starting to tighten up with Tyson Barrie being signed and Teddy Brody being signed as well. But overall, I do think the Jets still need to go out and get another right-handed defenseman, not an elite one, but some guy that can play the third pairing, maybe play in the top 4 depending on injuries, who can be a good defensive player, not a liability on defense, someone who can elevate the defense, especially if we're going to be playing 2 rookies next year. I think we just need to go out and get another guy. That's just my opinion, though. I just don't want to see Luca Sbisa being that, getting playing time and having, I just don't want to see that. I want us to see us upgrade the defense just a little bit more. With all that being said, though, with cap, I do think that there might be a contract and move like Matthew Perreault. 4.125 is a luxury right now that we just can't afford in that bottom 6 role, I would say, and he could be moved to create a little bit more cap to go out and get Travis Hamonic. I think that's part of the reason why he hasn't signed yet. I think Hamonic is waiting for Winnipeg to make that right move for him, and I think they're just trying to figure that out. Don't be surprised to see Matthew Perreault being moved within a couple days, maybe, or even within a couple hours of this video being uploaded. No rumors pointing to that. It's just the fact that I think the Jets still need to do more, and they need to create some cap. All that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Are you happy with the moves so far? Do you still want to see the Jets go out and do more like me, or are you content in thinking that the roster can succeed and win with what we have now? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you're brand new to the channel and a fan of hockey, definitely consider subscribing. We cover the Jets a lot, but I like to cover all the teams, so if you're a fan of hockey, please drop that subscription. It helps me out a lot on that road to 300 subs. I do appreciate all the support. All that being said, I'm going to end the video here. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As usually, peace out. Take care, guys. I will see you in the next one. Go Jets, go.